Awesome. So, welcome to, I think, episode 4 of the Fortunate Born podcast. I'm here with Louie today. It is Louie, yeah?
Hello. It is Louis. Yes, yes, it is Louis.
Fantastic. You know, wanted to make sure I pronounce it. You know how some
Yeah, I
people
trust
have.
me. Everybody says Lewis straight away.
Yeah, see, I
My,
thought it was a Louie.
yeah, no, everybody says Lewis. I mean, it's more annoying because my second name is Genis. So everybody says Genis. So everybody just says my whole entire name wrong. They say Louis Genis. So fucking annoying. Can I swear?
Okay,
It's like,
yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. We're
yeah,
good,
yeah,
man.
okay.
We're good. Go
Okay,
on.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Fine. So, yeah, we're going to obviously go into a little bit about your competitive career, your
Yep,
like
amazing.
bodybuilding, your ethos around your coaching, obviously, because you're a fellow coach
Yeah.
as well. So, without further ado, man, like tell the people a little bit about yourself. Where are you right now? Where are you
Okay.
based? What you're doing, and a little bit of your origin story, man.
Okay, so I guess for start, so I started in the gym. Probably I'm 20 now, so I started when I was 15, and just kind of in the gym, sort of like just doing my thing, just kind of just enjoying going with friends and all that sort of stuff. That kind of led to like building a bit of muscle. I wasn't someone who blew up quite quickly. I was someone who like was very much of a slow burner sort of thing, and I
Mm,
just kept on going, kept on going, kept on going, and then I started falling in love with posing because I'm not the biggest guy in the world, like
mm,
genetically. So I started understanding like the love for posing and the fact that I can manipulate how I look on camera
mm.
almost by like moving my arms in certain positions. I can make myself look bigger. Then that led to me kind of like learning about bodybuilding. And 2024 was my first season where I competed as a natural teen, and it was way too early. I shouldn't have competed that early, but at the same time, it solidified my love for the sport. If that makes sense, it solidified that love for it. So I loved prep. Well, it was my first prep, so everybody knows like first prep is brutal. But yeah, it was my first prep. I got fucking dick skin lean, like really lean. But the issue was I just didn't have a muscle underneath, and I didn't understand like how important it was to maintain all lifts. So I was just getting weaker. I was getting lean, but at the same time, I was just losing muscle. So it was actually like it was getting to a certain point where I wasn't looking any lean. I was just getting smaller. And then I did a couple shows. So I did two NPA, one UK DFBA. The NPA shows were a lot less competitive. I think one of them I came second, the other one I came first, but NPA not as competitive. And then I did a UK DFBA and I came fourth. So it wasn't the best season really. It's not something that
You would have been at the
like
same show as me then.
in 2024 I did
Yes.
the Heart of
Yeah.
England.
Yes.
Is it? Oh, we did the same show.
Yeah. So I would have probably seen you backstage throughout that.
Yeah, yeah. No, so I did that sort of thing, and I was planning on doing a WNBF show and another UK DFBA after, but it
Mm.
got to a point where it was just like there was just no point continuing. Like I could have continued. Like it wasn't a case of my brain was messed up. It was just like I was so small that like
Mm.
my legs were like literally twigs. I found that no, the thing is I'm 6'1", so I'm quite lanky.
I'm
And
six
because
four
obviously
man, so
is it
I
yeah.
feel you.
And because I'm quite lanky, it's one of those cases that like my upper body got lean really quickly, but my
Mm.
legs just took so long, and that just led to a bit of muscle loss. But it was I fucking love. I'm being negative about it all, but I absolutely loved my first season. Like it was one of the best experiences ever. And the plan is now is I'm kind of gone into like a 2 year off season, and then
Mm.
2027 I will be back on stage as a junior, so I'll be 22 then, and
Mm.
then yeah, still natural, so that'll be good, and then we'll see how all of that kind of goes. But yeah, just eating
Awesome.
a lot of food right now.
Enjoying bulking life, right?
It's getting to that point now where it's like when I was a couple of months ago, I could have like no about like 6 8 months ago, I could smash 200 grams of oats and I'd be fine. Like
Hmm.
now, 125 grams of oats, I'm like it's getting to the end of the bowl, and I'm like kind of making me feel a little bit sick. It's getting to that point now. The appetite is not as high as it
That
should be.
is most people's Achilles heel, right? Is
Yeah,
that when that starts to happen, like what do you do around that to make sure that you
yeah,
can actually continue to stay in this bulk, right?
yeah,
Yes, mini cuts are great. They can obviously re-establish appetite. They can like obviously pull weight down a little bit
yeah,
more. It might be, you might have to introduce a little bit more cardio to try and get some expenditure to drive up appetite. It might be a case that, you start ramping volume up. Depends. There's so many levers you can pull.
Yeah, there is. Like, that was the thing. So back in pretty much November to December. No, end of October to December, I did a mini cut. It was 10 weeks. It was really cool because it was like I was a completely different bodybuilder when I was lean this time around. Like, and it was it was great, but literally it's like it's only February and I've already feeling like the appetite's becoming a bit of a struggle. Not struggle. Like I'm very much a fatty in the fact that I can just eat and eat and eat. But it's like yeah, like right now the calories aren't even that high, but I know that we'll get pushed a lot higher, but I'll make do. I'll make it work.
I was about to say, are you self-coach? You got a coach?
I got a coach, yeah. No, so I got a coach myself, a guy called Jimmy Neal, who I've been with now for 2.5, coming up to 3 years, which is just which is really good. Me and him have a really good relationship, and I think that's something that like I really just try and strive for with all of my sort of clients, because to a point where it's just like me and him are almost friends now. Well, we are friends. It's like we talk on a regular basis, not just about bodybuilding and all that, and that's something I want to try and get with all my clients.
How did you find him?
When I back in 2023, late 2022, early 2023, I was just training in a leisure centre, and one of my friends was a powerlifter, and I was saying like I wanted, and he was telling me I needed to get a coach, and then he sent me over loads, and I went on like 10, 12 phone calls. I just literally just spam messaged loads of coaches. And it's funny now because I know how it works of like how with like how coaches outreach. I was the opposite. I was the one messaging them saying, "Can we hop on a call?" sort of thing. We hopped on like 10 to 12 like loads. I hopped on loads of calls, and Jimmy was the one that like kind of like I felt like I best matched with. Yeah. And he's in so I'm in Essex. Well, I'm in Loughton, so just right by London. So he's in like Braintree, Witham area. So he's not far either.
How far away are you from Epping then?
Epping?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah, I used to have family that lived down there.
Oh, is it? I thought you were going to say you live in Epping.
No. I've been popping down. Like, there'll probably be better gyms I could go to as well, mate, than that. But no, because I used to live in Colchester for a bit when I was in the military.
Is it?
So we drive down, and I used to have family in Epping, so I'm kind of like familiar with going to that area a few times or whatnot and past it. So yeah, I get that. What's the bodybuilding scene like around your area?
It's not great. It's all leisure centres. I drive like 20, 25 minutes every day to a this gym in Enfield, which is still a bit of a trek. Wastes quite a bit of my time, but it's a really cool gym. Like, it's a really cool gym called Body Factory in Enfield. Like there's another good gym in Leighton, but in the local area, there's not many good gyms. It's all leisure centres. However, it will be interesting because Muscleworks Loughton is opening up. I don't know if you've seen that on a thing.
No.
Yeah, Muscleworks Loughton, because obviously Muscleworks is expanding. They've got the Loughton one. They've taken over Hybrid Fitness, which was a commercial gym, and I've got a few clients in there, which is really cool because I've got like a bit of a because they've left the gym open while they're renovating it. So they're like putting stuff in while people still try. It seems a bit weird how they're doing it, but they're like thinking it'll be interesting. I don't know. It doesn't give me the vibes like the old school like Muscleworks, like the Bethnal Green, like the Orpington. But like there's the Muscleworks Suffolk now in London, and like it's I don't know. I haven't really been there yet, but it looks like it's a bit of a mixture between commercial and bodybuilding. I feel like they're taking a bit of a middle ground.
Trying to
I don't know how I feel about that. So we'll see if I make the move or not, because it's 30 seconds down the road, maybe 2 minutes down the road from me.
Mate, it's going to be able to save you a lot of time, and
it's saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, because I'm in a similar situation to yourself, right? Where I live in Aylesbury, which is kind of like Buckinghamshire way towards Oxford.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you had to kind of geolocate it, it's kind of like in between Milton Keynes, Oxford, and Reading.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just this black pool of nothing
between
all of this.
But you go to some places, there's so many fucking cool gyms, and then you go to like, and then there's just like there's nothing around here.
Yeah, it does seem to be you're either feast or famine, right?
Yeah.
You've either
That's
got
it.
all these choices. You go to the likes of like Birmingham or Manchester, and you're
Yeah.
just spoiled for choice. Like, your ultra flexes, your EP jungles, like, all of that, right? And you've just got
Yeah.
so many different. And then you've
And
got
like
the other.
FLF. There's so many in that area, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially this north. I don't know what it is, but like north of Birmingham, probably Derby is the low, because obviously there's an ultra flex in Derby.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know what their plans are to come down south, but I wouldn't be surprised.
There's
if
the
they do.
Ultraflex now in West London.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I forgot about that, to be fair. But
But
like I
think
don't
that's
know like
the-
what.
Yeah. But I don't know, it's like with that muscle works that's coming to Loughton, it's just like, do you know what's funny? The thing that brings me to a different gym is their leg equipment. I can make do with upper body equipment, it's their leg stuff. Like, if they've got a good hack squat, a pendulum, and different stuff like that, I can make the move. I can deal with some shitty upper body stuff, but it's like, I know the current hack squat in that gym is awful. Like, you know, one of those hack squats where you're hitting parallel and you bottom it out and you're like, what the
Man,
fuck?
you having to like stack yoga pads like
Yeah.
underneath it to like get in. It's like, they start getting a little bit unstable when you go more than one.
Yeah, and then like at my gym in Enfield, they've got a Cybex V1. They've got like an original Cybex one. It's I just like I'm sport for choice, but
So I have to travel from where I am in Aylesbury to a place called Iron Bodies, which is kind of like Luton way, just outside. I don't know if you know where that is roughly. It's right on the outskirts, luckily, so it's kind of like a place called Houghton Regis, which is on Dunstable side, but Dunstable and Luton have kind of like almost merged together now because Luton's got so big. That's a fantastic gym. It's a proper, like, he's redone it recently where he's put a load of like, it's black tile, he's got no neon lighting everywhere, and it's hand-picked equipment, so it's it's got all the decent pieces of kit, and it's got the Cybex hack squat, he's got some of the new Jim Lyko stuff in. He's got the Prime. He's got old school Nautilus shoulder press. He's got like just cherry pick stuff, mate. And he's just like just everything is bespoke to it. And then he's getting a couple of new bits in. Like, he gets the old stuff out, and I'm almost tempted to tell him like, hey, where are you staying at? Because I will buy it off you. Because like, it's all...
Have you got a space where you can put it?
No, I'd make one. I'd just hire a storage and just start getting it all, because like it's like a museum piece, right? And they're so hard to get hold of, and so like, because he refreshes, because I remember he had a Life Fitness leg extension which felt so nice.
The old one, like the old type.
The old type one. It just felt so smooth.
Life Fitness used to be the old techno gym equipment. You know, the really like old shit. The techno gym used to be such a fuck. Is it okay? We'll get it. But yeah, techno gym used to be such a good brand.
Yeah. So I went to. Have you ever been to Switzerland?
I have, yes. I was literally in Switzerland about a month ago, or about 2 weeks ago.
Amazing. Where did you go?
Well, we went to Geneva. We spent the night in Geneva, and then we went skiing into Vafwen.
Okay, so did you train at all when you went to Geneva?
No. No.
There's a really cool gym there as well. It's all got all Cybex Eagle stuff.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was sat there training, and there was this absolutely huge bloke that was coming in, and I was like, you're definitely not nice. So, I was looking at it, but whew, what a gym.
You know, so like...
there's some old, very quickly, before I forget, when I was in Interlaken, because we travelled across the country, so we went from Zurich to Lucerne to Interlaken to Geneva, and we went via the train system, and just, chef kiss, right? What a country. Moved back there in Harvey. But there's this old school gym, right, in Interlaken. Because Interlaken's like a little ski place, and they've got some mountains and stuff. And there's like a handful of different gyms. I tried a couple different out and got a couple of day passes. And the one in Interlaken, it was proper old school gym. He said just leave 10. I can't even remember what we used in Switzerland, but just leave a 10 note in the letterbox and grab yourself a day pass out. It was just a card you just grabbed out from the letterbox and left the money in, or left behind the counter in the gym, and it was all old school iron weights techno gym.
Yeah, that must be so sick.
Oh man, and he had all these slogans on the side, like, like losers complain, winners train, and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm home.
So this was before I was properly bodybuilder. This must have been like before I got coach 2023. I went on I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a guy who goes out partying or anything like that. And my first lads holiday was a case of like all of my friends are sort of like used to be kind of gym guys, and what we did is we first lads holiday is we just got in the car and we just drove around Europe. we drove to like Paris and then just drove all around Europe. We drove to Paris, did all 3 cities in Belgium, then Rotterdam, and then we came back. And the amount of cool gyms we just found we found like this crazy gym in France. It was literally in the middle of fucking nowhere. We just saw this random sign that said gym, and we went to it, and it was just full of Panatta. Well, I don't really like Panatta, but it was still a cool thing. It was Panatta, Cybex, Atlantis, and it was just like this random. It was so funny when we walked into the gym, like because you were in the middle of nowhere in France, because we any English, and we're like, just can we train please? Like, can we get a day pass?
We, yeah. That makes sense, man.
You always find those like absolute gems when you're in stuff like that. It's so good.
It's so cool to see, right? It's so cool to see because like that's like anyone who has a passion about lifting, like even if that's like coaches, trainers, like fitness instructors, whatever, and you just know when you grab on a nice machine, because you know if you know how to train, you just know like how good this feels straight away to it. It's so cool to see, man. So cool to see. So obviously you did your first like year of like bodybuilding. You were like, I need to put on more muscle.
Exactly.
So talk me through the process at the moment for you. Like what's been working for you to build more muscle? Either exercise, movements, methods, mindsets. What's been working?
So for me, I came out of prep at my prep lowest was during depletion. I was 68 on stage. I was 70. And then I ran up to 98 kilos in thing with good, like I wasn't fat. Like that was something that I was really like. That was when I was like, okay, maybe I can actually do this quite. Because when I went and did my first season, I was going to the gym, but I was only bodybuilding for like 6 months before I went into prep. Like it was so like, I just got a coach. We did a couple months together, and then we went into prep because I thought I had enough muscle, but obviously I didn't. And then. So then we reversed out slowly. My coach Jimmy was an absolute prick who didn't let me have pretty much any cheat meals after because I have an issue with binging, and we found that out with refeeds. Like I couldn't, he wouldn't let me just have like a random thing. He had to like kind of like almost like tell me what I could have, if that makes sense. And so I came out of prep, pretty much went like I had. My post-show meal was a chicken shish and rice from the Turkish, and then we ended up like 6 weeks later. I had my first sort of like cheat meal sort of thing, but like I just spent that first 6 weeks where I just reversed out so fucking slowly and so like, well, it just put me in a position where I kind of just blew up, and then literally I bulked pretty much from like. When I got out of my health phase, when I came out of the 2024 prep, I bulked from December pretty much to more like November, because like 6 weeks, more like November to end of October. I was just one bulk where I pushed the weight up from like 70 to 97. I still got a little bit fat, but like nothing, not shamefully fat, just like thing. And then I did that mini cut, like I said, and I fell down to 88, and it was really cool to see because I looked like a completely different bodybuilder in that like time, to a point where it's just like how crazy. Like my legs got a lot bigger, but like with my training thing, it's very much like it's what I enjoy. Like I'm very much like I've gone through phases where I really enjoyed science-based stuff. I've gone through phases where it's just like fuck, just move the weight. Like it's something what I found a bit more of a mixture in the fact that like I've still got young joints. I can go into something and just sort of like, I don't really need to warm up. I can kind of just like throw as much weight on as just start moving it. And that's something that like my knees are now starting to hurt and all that. So it's trying to find that mixture between science, sort of like slow reps and really just taking your time with just trying to move as much weight as kind of like possible. But for me, it's just about enjoyment. Like I just got to enjoy my training. That's the most important thing. If I'm going for gym and I'm doing something that I'm not enjoying, I won't train very hard. But if I'm doing something that I'm really enjoying, then it's like I'm getting a good sweat on, and like I'm starting to sweat now, and I can feel the pump kind of thing. My training's just really fucking good, and I really enjoy it. With food, it's a case of like it's always been quite low fat, high carbs, just kind of pushing that. I think in my protein's always been moderate. I'm not someone who I guess also because natural, like I've never needed to push for protein up to more than like 230 plus. It's only stayed at around 225. but like stayed around there because I know in some cases people will push protein up to like 300 or like 280, 300, and
Yeah. I mean, when I think back to when I was in prep, I think I was up to about 280.
really, I feel prep is
Yeah.
different though. I feel like sometimes where you can have that, I feel like protein can be quite satiating as well, along with side with some fats. And if you're
Yeah,
keeping
well,
fats
yeah,
quite low,
35 grams of fat, mate.
oh, okay, mine only got. I want to be fair, mine got to 40, like thing, but
I depleted at
yeah.
88.
Hmm?
So I depleted down to about 88.
8 kilos.
Yeah, 88 kilos
Yeah,
like was me like absolutely flat dead. And then
yeah.
when I was back onto stage again, it was like 91 and a half, 92.
Okay. Oh shit. So you
Um, so
okay,
yeah,
cool.
so it took me quite a lot to feel back out. I was really depleted. Like
Yeah,
I had to like sit down when I was going doing steps outside, like for too long.
yeah.
I was like
No,
that.
me too. No,
It's
like
like
I
tell
look
you,
like it when you go back at my photos from 2024, like my face. So I
mm,
because when I first kind of like when I was like 6, 8 weeks into prep, well, okay, my prep was like 25 weeks. So when I've like kind of got like about 8 weeks into prep, I buzzed my hair because I had a good jawline, and I was like, okay, cool, this could work. We could buzz my hair. Worst mistake of my life because it made the death face. The death
that much
face was
worse.
fucking brutal. Like,
Yeah.
because the thing is, I like the buzz when it grew out a little bit, and because I was in prep, I just didn't care about how I looked. Just didn't care. Oh, it's fun. It's actually quite ironic because you care so much how your body looks, but like when you're in prep, you just don't care. What
Yeah,
you just
nothing else, mate. Facial hair, like you don't. Yeah, body hair maybe because you want to keep yourself lean.
yeah, yeah,
But you don't care about your hair, man. Like majority of the time, I was
exactly.
wearing a cap anyway.
Yeah, but literally, like my face was like, and also I went so pale, and my blood pressure was like, my resting heart rate when I was sleeping went down to I think at the lowest went down to 34, 35. My
Mm.
blood pressure was so fucking low that if I would stand up and like have to like I'd have to hold on to
Mm.
something for a good like 30 seconds just to make sure I don't
Yeah,
fall over.
I remember that. I remember that as well. It's because you're just in such a it's controlled starvation. You're
Yeah,
so deficient. You're so fatigued. You're so
yeah,
tired. Like I don't think people really realize this. And even actually, I was speaking with a
yeah,
former podcast member yesterday, Tom, and he was saying
yeah.
like it's one of the hardest. He believes it's the hardest thing to do. It's such an extreme
100.
sport where yes, as a fighter, there's ways to manipulate that weight through
Yeah,
sauna, water exposure, diet, and things of that nature. And that's probably the next thing along you could probably compare
yeah,
bodybuilding to. But because he was saying like he views it as a sport, and I was like, I look at it a little bit more as an art form for the actual
100%.
demonstration of that. So like posing and things of that. Like after listening to a lot of podcasts in
Yeah,
my time, I'm 33. I've listened to a lot of people's opinion on it, and I agree that it's more like a dance than it is
100%.
anything like that. So it's closer to actual
Yeah,
like gymnastics and dance from
yeah,
a judging and criteria standpoint in posing. But from obviously the displaying of the body of the leanness of it, it's one of the most savage things you could do
oh,
to
it,
because it's so
it's
bad.
brutal,
Like for
and it's brutal, and like bearing in mind that like living with my parents. Like I'm 19. Like my mum and dad are going and looking at me, going like, "What are you doing to yourself?" Like they were so worried about me because it was just like my whole. I had chats at work with my boss where they sat me down in a thing and was like, "Is everything okay at home?" Like they knew what I was doing, but they were like really like concerned for me, and it's just like but the thing is like it's like I understand that like especially what this like thing, I know that it will never get that bad again for me. It might get like reasonably bad again, but I know that what
you'll never
made
be
it
that skinny though,
worse.
will you?
Yeah, I won't be that skinny. I won't look that ill. I won't buzz my hair. I won't
Please
buzz
don't
my
wash your hair
hair.
again.
Yeah, I won't buzz my hair. Like it's just, but yeah, no, it was. But the thing is, I think it's so good for your mindset. Like everybody that I know who's competed has a fucking awesome mindset when it comes to anything, business, gym, anything. I think like especially when you're natural, it's one of those cases that you can't prep in like 12 weeks. You need to be slow, you need to be slow about it. And even though like well, it depends how stingy your coach is, but it depends how many refeeds you get. But it's one of those cases that for me, I got 2 refeeds in that time and it was a 25 it was a 30-week prep, but the first 5-6 weeks the calories weren't that low. But like that's a long fucking time to almost like no cheat meals, nothing in that time. And like it's funny with clients. Yeah, it's funny with clients. I'll say to them, it's like you like what I try and do with like with most of them, I try and kind of keep in like once a week, have a sort of cheat meal because they're not trying to bodybuild. They're sort of like they're just trying to have a life. So like once a week, maybe have a meal with your family, have a meal, enjoy yourself like once a week sort of thing. But with some of them who are a lot more, so I've got a couple of sort of like hobby bodybuilders. I heard this expression yesterday and I quite like that. Like it's not like
hobby builders.
Yeah, exactly. They're just it's more of a hobby sort of thing. And it's like one of them's in like a cut right now and he wants a cheat meal. I'm like, you can survive 6-8 weeks. No cheat meal. You can do it. Like I tell him,
it's the mentality, right? It's the mentality around that. Is that like if you do hard shit, like you become a harder, stronger, better version of yourself. And you were talking earlier about like obviously you isolated that you have a binging, and I actually had that as well. I still fight with that to this day. To be fair, and I isolated. Something to do with my childhood to do with that when I was digging around and like why do I feel like I need to have this and it come through a couple of different things. So like this is quite interesting because obviously you're talking like obviously with your clients, but obviously what we realize when we do the work on ourselves as well is that this can have an impact, and actually just saying you don't want it enough and you're not motivated enough isn't actually a helpful solution, and it's not going to solve anything as well, right? So like when we look at the binging, I found that because I used to play a lot of football when I was younger, so I played a little bit of semi-pro football. I was always a better athlete than I was a footballer, so that's why I didn't make it pro, because I was shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was in the military as well, so that is a very 100% or nothing mindset when you're in there. And when I was an adult and had adult money, like I could eat whatever the fuck I wanted. Now, when I was in the military, it was an issue because you're so active and because of what you're doing, and sometimes you would go very long periods without eating anything whatsoever as well, because nature of the job, right? But I isolated in my childhood. When I would come home from playing football, I didn't know what hypoglycemic was. So when I was low blood sugar, shakes, and I was like, I need to go home now because I'm done. And I would go home and I would want something to eat, and there would be very little food in the house to eat, your biscuits or something like that. Like I was young, you don't know how to make food, right? So my instant reaction was to slam as many biscuits into my grid as possible, or find the most quickest instant food to have. And a lot of those foods, as we know, such things like your biscuits, your crisps, your chocolate bars, all that stuff will satisfy you a little bit, but then it's going to leave you back hungry again, and it's going to spike your blood sugar, and then you come back down.
And that's where I
had that kind of association where like and when I was growing up, we didn't have that much. We had good food. Like I was like middle class-ish, like low middle class. It wasn't like poverty by any means, but like we weren't loaded like at all. So a lot of, as we find out, a lot of trauma that you deal with gets done between like the ages of 0 and 7, and it rears its ugly head in the form of adult problems later in life. And for me, like having to do work on that a lot. Like we don't like food waste as well. So like I don't like leaving food to go to waste. I like not clean. Like I was always told to clean my
plates.
Right. So all of this, and then when you have adult money and you can buy a large Domino's pizza or the side of it, you don't want to leave it, right? Because that's your default mindset. So very interesting with that, man.
I think it's one of those cases that it's like people. I'm sure people love the whole. Maybe not bodybuilding, maybe not clients, but like I know so many people who like say about like I have my genetics make me fat and all that sort of stuff. You know, where they're like they've got a gene, that sort of thing. And I think that's complete. I don't believe in that at all. But I personally think there's a psychology in your brain, 100% in the fact that some people. That's why like some people are more likely to be skinny. Some people are more likely to be. I think metabolism also has a whole side of it. We'll stay away from that at the moment. But like with it is the case of like, I like the feeling of being full. I like the feeling of my belly being stretched, if that makes sense. Whereas some people can't think of anything worse than that. And that's where I think it comes to that brain psychology and the fact that I grew up in a family where like we were all eaters. We all ate quite a lot of food, and it was just one of those cases that like. It's just how your brain works. Whereas you meet someone who maybe is on the skinnier side and they just don't like eating. Like I get so much comfort from eating. Like if I'm bored, I've just like not anymore, but like. But when I was like especially younger, like when I was bored, that was what I just did. I just ate.
Mm.
Like if I'm watching TV, it felt weird just watching TV and not having something to chew.
Yeah, right. So that's that kind of like habits and behaviors that have been
Yeah,
integrated into you from a younger age, right? Because
that's
I
where
was
I
the
think
same.
I think that's where you get more of those people that are more susceptible to being overweight than others,
Mm.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. There's definitely a huge psychological aspect to this, especially
100%.
from a behavioural front and from a routine front. You know, if
Yeah,
you always sit down and watch Netflix and you have to have something to eat, and
yeah,
you're reaching for the crisps or the chocolate or the snacks or whatever,
yeah.
then of course you're always going to be overeating like that, because it's not the fact that you're sitting down watching TV that's doing the damage. It's that you have to keep your
It's
mind busy. Exactly. It's like
exactly.
being present there, actually relaxing and watching whatever you want to do and paying
Yeah,
attention to that. So I definitely get that. I do think, to caveat that, there is, and as we do understand, like especially gene therapy and genes a lot more, there's always a
oh,
reason why the person potentially might behave that way. So, for example, we know that yes, metabolism. When you break metabolism down, what is it?
yeah, yeah. I
It's
was gonna say,
thyroid, it's hormonal, it's in the knee, and there's other things like that. So we can have under overs on those that can actually affect it.
100%.
This is where you look at someone, if they have a severe underactive thyroid and they've got psychological
Yeah, that's
problems,
exactly what I was about to say. Yeah,
would you then prescribe them something like a GPL-1? That could potentially be a very
yeah,
good answer to that, which is why you can't, I look at us like as practitioners, as PTs or coaches, we're practitioners,
yeah.
right? And if we rule ourselves like practitioners, we don't rule out any tool for any client at any point. We try to
100%.
find the right one for the right person at the right time.
I I think that like GLP-1s are something that is one of the most incredible things I think like people have, because I think to a certain extent some people are doing so much damage to their health by being this overweight, and yes,
Mm.
you're like there is some definitely some issues that can come about like with the thyroid with, because metabolism is a different side of things where some people are just going to have a different metabolism to others and are more likely to be overweight than
There's
others.
so much
And
that
I think with the
affects it, though.
GLP,
So much that affects it.
100, yeah, 100%, and like that's something that I find so interesting to learn about, because to be like thing is like I'm very much sort of like a bodybuilder in the fact that I don't like I'm a PT as well. I've been a PT now for 2 years, but there's just so much that I'm still learning about stuff like that. But with the GLP-1s, I think they're great and also terrible because they're such a good solution for some people. But I have actually have a couple clients who like I can't stop them from doing anything, but like they're not even that overweight and
Mm.
they're taking it, and it's one of those cases where it's just like you don't need it. You're not doing damage to your health with the weight that you're at. You just
Mm.
thing, and then that just like
Looking for a
I
shortcut,
find
right?
that with some
Just
people,
looking for the shortcut.
yeah. But I always find that like they get to a certain weight where they just can't. They're eating like 1,200-1,300 calories. They're not at their like ideal weight yet, but they can't do anything because I have some clients who are at like a certain weight who are like eating 1,300 calories, even though I'm shouting at them, no, more, 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 and it's just sort of like their weight isn't changing because they're eating so little, and we can't make it lower because you can't.
There's always a caveat that I would say to that, Lou. Right, so the way I look
Hit
at
me.
I've been coaching for 10 years now, right, and I
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know, yeah, I can still hear you, man. Yeah, and I know when someone tells me from personal experience, obviously, like just like you in prep, right? When you were
Oh yeah, yeah,
eating
yeah, yeah.
15, 16, 17, 1,800 calories, you knew you were actually eating that, and then you were doing the steps and everything dialed in. And how peeled did you get?
Yeah.
Right? So
Oh, 100%.
the exception to that is like you have to then look at them and go, there's one of two things here,
Yeah.
right? There's either a complacency issue, you think you're eating 1,300, but you're not. Okay,
Yeah.
which is number one thing I go to. Like, right, cool. Send me food pictures. What oils are you using? Sauces, condiments,
Yeah.
coffees, drinks, everything. Lay it on the plate for me.
Yeah.
Because if we are actually eating 1,300 calories, you're not losing weight. You're now the exception, which means I have to
Yeah.
look at that slightly differently. Now I'm like, are you chronically stressed? Stress management, sleep. Then I have to go into that. Maybe I refeed you and see what happens. Like I go down that route. The other route is they're just fucking lying.
Yeah.
Right?
There's always
And-
going to be that case, and I've always got that
Yeah.
doubt. Like always
Yeah.
got like that where you're looking for my fitness pal and you're just like, are you really? But I do personally think though, when we're in every other case, I completely agree with you. But I do personally think with the whole GLP-1 sort of thing, like when they're like physically can't eat anymore without feeling sick, I
Mm.
think that it does get to a certain point where like they're almost. I know some people who have bumped their dose up to like 12 milligrams of like Manjaro, and they're having all of this. I mean, they can hardly eat anything. They're eating like maximum about 1 meal a
Mm.
day, like
Mm.
700 calories, 800 calories. And I do personally think though, when you have been on that drug for like a year and you've completely fucked your metabolism up, I think it does get to a point though, like your weight will stop moving. Was that something you disagree with?
I think if that was the case, then you wouldn't have the examples you have of when you see a human and they actually starve, right? And you actually see
That's a
like
good point. That's a good
if
point. That's
that
a very good
person's
point.
actually starving and actually
Yeah,
eating 700 calories a day, they would be like, wouldn't
that's a
they?
good point.
They
Yeah,
would hypertrophy. They would lose
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Regardless of metabolism, regardless of that, because
yeah,
it's a nice excuse. So it's like, are they again? I'm
yeah.
so skeptical because I've had it
Oh,
over the
100%. You
years.
always got to see what. Yeah,
I know, for example, guys and girls that were taking GPO1s, Manjaro, Ozempic, other things
yeah,
of
yeah.
that nature, right? But they were sinking 10 pints a night.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, they're not actually keeping track of the cat. Yeah, there's so many things. I like this is the thing.
Yeah,
Like, I love having these conversations because it's something that is just so. I don't know. It's just I'm still learning. Like, it's so many things,
bro,
but it's just
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's so interesting. But I think that's a very yeah. That is thing. I'm curious then. So like. And with your bodybuilding sort of thing, how did you kind of go? Obviously, being with the army and all that, how did you kind of fall into bodybuilding? When did this happen for you?
So when I was when I was younger, I played a lot of football. Then
Okay.
kind of like threw my toys out of pram, stopped playing football because I'm an
Yeah.
idiot, mentally immature. Joined the military at 18, come out at 22 with a lovely busted ankle, which was, to be fair, I
Lovely.
straight up in football before. So went through the rehab on that, started finding a gym, found a local gym when I was in the military that was like a hardcore, smaller bodybuilding
Yeah.
gym. And it was run by a guy called Stu Hamilton, who I believe is like Mr. GB 95 or something like
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
Short guy, but could deadlift like almost 4 times his body weight. It was
It's
crazy.
cool seeing those like old school bodybuilders sort of thing.
So such a nice guy as well, man. Anything you needed, to let
Yeah.
you know. Like he would chat through it. There was a couple of guys in there that were like, there was Olympic master weight like bench presses there. The guy
Yeah.
like big Asian guys with no neck, and he
Yeah.
was. And it's just like you're strong, like,
Yeah.
and so being around that kind of environment was great. And I used to train there. Me and my colleague, my friend Adam Lucas, who actually competed last year for the first time, finally got his ass on stage for
Is
the
it?
Masters in men's physique. Yeah, finally. And I joke with him that he did men's physique because he doesn't have any legs, so he didn't take that very well.
But
But he's got these colossal forearms and arms and chest, and I'm like, you're made for men's physique, mate. So it's
yeah.
fine. So I started there. That's where kind of I started getting introduced to it.
Is it?
Within the military, there's a wide spread of people that have such a different amount of training experience. When you're in a company of guys, 100 guys, and they've all got such a mixed training heritage and experience and history, you start to pick up all sorts of people that have done all sorts of stuff. I went to LA Fitness. Like that was like one of the first proper gyms I went to when I was working at Tesco when I was younger. I managed to get into a gym that I shouldn't have been able to get into because I should have been 18 and above, but I was 16. But because I was taller,
Okay. Yeah,
I got
yeah, yeah.
in and
You
I
got away
started
with it. Yeah.
training. And that's kind of I was training alongside like these huge Polish truck drivers that were just slamming heavy bench
Yeah.
presses against it. Like I've been around and being inspired by all these guys
Yeah.
that were just strong. Like my dad was a policeman. He used to play football. He was always quite fit and healthy as well. So where I got into really bodybuilding was probably when I started getting around that in the army.
Is that? Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
then I kind of read through like Arnold's encyclopedia for like
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
to
Good.
back all 768 pages or however much it is. Once I read that back to back, and I was like, this is really cool. I love this. I love the like. I've always been into like history and the aesthetics and like Stoicism and Greek mythology, Roman
Yeah,
mythology.
yeah, yeah.
So I really, really vibed with that. I vibed with the aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
And then when I come out of the military, after I've done my 4 years, joined the BPT straight away. and then just picked the nearest show that was like a good amount of time away and did it.
Oh, is it? How'd that go?
Not very well, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Right, so first off, self-coached, right? No coach whatsoever. Don't know. There wasn't a particular reason I didn't have a coach back then. I just didn't know like it kind of existed. I was like, I'm a PT. I can do this myself.
Yeah.
And I got some advice off of like an enhanced bodybuilder as well, who owned a supplement shop, and that was stupid. But you don't know what you don't know, like back then. But I did NABA.
Okay.
Right? And I didn't know there was such things as tested and untested.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like that's an untested, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, I just jumped in and did it. And I had an absolute great time. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I did not place. I was like photo shoot lean. I was not bodybuilding lean. I didn't have any perception or standard of what that was. So that was kind of my introduction. I did that. It was good. Did it hurt? Like, yeah, it hurt a little bit because obviously people said, how'd it go? I said, well, it did all right. I lost 20 kilos. I look pretty good. I've looked probably the best I've ever looked, the most amount of muscle, the leanest I've ever looked. Couldn't really do that when I was in the military. Didn't have the knowledge or the application for it. And then I had to get a hernia operated on. And then COVID happened. So like between that kind of like 2017 after you rebound and kind of decide what to do.
Yeah.
I had the hernia, had to wait to get the hernia fixed 2018. That was
Gotcha.
interesting because I couldn't really train, which then I fell out of love of training because I couldn't train as hard or as wanted. Then also didn't PT for a bit because I had to move out of my family home.
Okay.
As well. So like all these things kind of like delayed the part, and then got back into the gym, started losing weight because I got fat, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that as well. If you see my transformation shots of like my personal ones, like I'm carrying a lot of extra timber. I think the heaviest I was up to, I was 136 kilos.
Fuck.
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah. You got heavy.
I got heavy. Like, and it wasn't like I was like, I carried it well, which was what kind of like probably lured me into a false sense of security around it at the time.
Yeah.
Is that if you put a hoodie on me, like, part of my face being round, you couldn't really tell. Like, I wasn't like sat out like enormously. I didn't have like massive like rings on me or anything like that. But like, I was carrying a lot of extra timber.
God.
So yeah.
You said how tall are you? 6'4", did you say?
Yeah, 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4", yeah.
So
yeah, you're a tall guy, yeah.
Yeah, that's like 300 pounds. Like,
I know, that's exactly what I was just thinking about. 300 pounds. That makes sense why you compete. You were on stage at 91, because in my head I'm thinking like a 200-pound like bodybuilder on stage. Like, I shouldn't actually shoot. You're natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought so. Yeah. So like that's crazy. Like 91 kilos. That's like 198 pounds. 197. To be stage lean,
like
to be stage lean at that weight is very impressive.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Like I'll probably, there's some of them are on my social media, but like it was clear like I was lean. Like my hamstrings and glutes were in. Had glute striations on the side poses. Like and the crazy thing is, I knew there was a little bit more to come off as well. So I know I can get a little bit leaner. I know that like once you kind of go through that, like I've noticed since going through that process, certain parts of me have never got the same amount of body fat again. So like my arms and shoulders and top of my top line are just permanently leaner now and in better body composition. And for me, where the fat cells were where they're always going to be, which are going to be like torso.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight away, like love handles, front belly, like around the boobs. That's it. So so from 136 down, man, that kind of chipped away. Obviously, COVID, as we know, happened. And then from there,
COVID feels like it was so long ago.
Mad times, man. Mad times. Because I started to get back into the gym like that because I worked for DW Fitness first as a fitness manager, and then they got made redundant. Obviously, the whole thing imploded. I got made redundant. Then I had to go back into like my background is engineering, so I'm So what I did in the army was basically a mechanic, but like I fixed everything from like a generator, and I could go up to like a tank basically. So like diesel combustion engineering was like my terminology. So I went into engineering during COVID. And then started retraining, get back into it when the gyms would open. Obviously they shut and then opened again, didn't they? Which was mad time. And then I picked up my first coach was Elliot Gibson. I don't know if you know him.
Yep, I know. Yeah, I do know. Elliot, yeah,
Yeah,
I know
Team
him.
Team Pal.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was trying to think of who got which guy he's with. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he works with Adam Powell at the moment. So I've linked up with him because I used to see him at the Pure Gym where I'm from, which is Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
And he was training there. He's from Bedford, and I used to see him at the Pure Gym Bletchley down there. He's come a long way, and I know that
He was competed this year, didn't he? In 2024. Oh, not this year, but like he competed.
Just gone. So
he won a couple of awards.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
PCA overall, I believe, and then he also got his WMBF Pro card as well.
I know. I saw him at the Supernatural show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and him are roughly the same height.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. He's a fucking tall guy.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So like, it's not very often, especially for naturals like us taller guys. There's not many taller guys that could fill out or spend long enough in the sport as a taller guy without going enhanced to then get right. I just don't know of many. Like I don't know like how tall. I saw Ethan Kavanagh, I think his name is.
I've heard that guy.
Backstage, yeah, like super sound by the looks of it as well. I saw him backstage UK DFBA, and I thought he was a little bit taller than I thought. So like if you look at the ratios, like Elliot has a shorter torso, longer legs. I have longer torso, shorter legs. So you know,
I have stupidly long legs and just like a really short torso. That's why I've got quite a good chest and back, but my legs are just hard to bring up because of that.
It'll come in time, man. Like if someone's to kind of watch or go through, Elliot would be your man to go look at that and see how someone goes from his leg development, because he's really brought his legs up and he will continue to do that to bring it up. So so I hired him. That was my first into bodybuilding, and then we kind of just went from there really. Like we went for a pre-prep phase, dieted down, like went through.
What year was this?
So that would have been, I think we started working in 2022.
Is it okay? Yeah, no fair.
Yeah, so 2022, got a load of fat off, went through a little bit of an off season, went through a pre-prep, and then went into it. We started it in Feb, and then the last show was WMBF October. So that was a long season.
Yeah.
And if I had my way and I didn't pay attention to my lovely fiance, soon to be wife, I would have just kept going. I would have been like, cool, let's keep going. But she was like, please stop. Like, I was like,
yeah, because you get to a point where you just start losing just muscle and you just start like doing damage to the look.
Yeah, I do believe the look that I had, I think the UK DFBA show, I looked fucking tremendous. I loved that look. The pictures from that, I love the pictures from it. Like some of the angles or the poses, yes, they could be better. I consider it like my first proper season though. Because when I look at what I was doing prior, the first time I ever competed, I was like, I can't even really count it, man. It was like...
So I'm almost looking at that, my 2024 season. It's like, it just didn't like... It was just me sort of just having a bit of fun. Just kind of like... I see that my next season's going to be like the proper season now, where I feel like it will be proper. But I want to going back to what you said about like these bigger guys, like when you first start going to the gym. My when I first moved to my bodybuilding gym I'm at now in Enfield, there's a guy there, and he is called JD Dowder, and he is a he competed with like Dorian Yates at the Olympia and all that shit.
Wow.
And like he's older guy now. He must be in his 50s or 60s, and he's also a tank now. He's not big anymore. You can see he's obviously a bit older now, but it's just so funny because he's quite a short guy, and like honestly, if you ever like type on Google JD Dowder, he's a crazy. Like you'll see him like pictures in like the 90s of like him on like the Olympia stage and like the Arnold stage, where it's just like holy shit. But like when you see those guys in the gym. And then you go on, like, you look at the pictures and it's like, holy, like, that's the levels. It's just crazy to see.
Do you think, like, with that height thing as well, like, it is a certain level, like, where it doesn't pay off to be any taller? Because, like, if you're quite tall at the moment, you're probably at, like, the nice size where if you bulk out and build that, it's going to be a very hard look to be.
So, personally, for me, I've always said that I'd pay money to be 5'10", 5'11". I think 5'10" is the best bodybuilding height. Because I think 5'10" is perfect, because you still... get enough stage presence, like you still have enough stage presence at 5'10", but you're not like as lanky, if that makes sense. Like I one of my friends who competed last year, last season, and he is like 5'11", but like just on the border of 5'11" sort of thing, and like he's like, in my opinion, is like the perfect height. Like it's so perfect because I feel like he's got enough stage presence, but he's not lanky. I just felt like my arms and just everything like that. It's just been a struggle. We're getting better now, but like I've always found that my height's been the biggest thing that's kind of like held me back.
It's limb length, right? So like because you have longer limbs. So there's certain leverage and biomechanics you might have to tweak around with. Like for example, if I try to do really strict lateral raises with my arms a lot straighter, I just feel like I'm gonna snap my brachialis or my elbows just like gonna give me shit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I can bring this in a little bit more, and is everyone gonna be like, oh, it's not like strict? And I'm like, mate,
but you're still
feeling. Have you tried to do that?
Yeah.
Like, no, you haven't.
Like, I can absolutely any sort of hinging movement, I'm quite strong at. But if you give me I don't bench, but if you gave me any sort of pressing movement, it's just so annoying because my arms are so long. I've got such a long reach to get to my chest and put that chest in the stretch position.
It's a long way down, right? It's a long way down.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, I would then probably do 75% ROM. So
I never straighten my arms. There's no point.
Because there is no, in my experience of training, there is no right or wrong way of doing things.
100%.
And I think people get caught up on it, especially on social media. They'll tribalize the shit out of it, which is probably why I don't like doing a lot of that as well, because it fights against everything that I believe in.
But I feel like that's what I said at the start about my sort of training. The fact that I got to enjoy it. I feel like it's so many people that it's just like it's so strict of what you got to do. It's like there's so many ways to skin a cat. There's so many ways that you can actually sort of make progress, and I've always found that I think the person who trains for a longer amount of time, even if it's absolutely not great form, is always going to beat the person who may be in it for say 6 months or a year with really good form. But maybe not. Good forms are different. It's the wrong description because I would say I have good form. I'm talking more like where you're seeing someone really science based sort of lifting.
Yeah, just
sort of
trying to optimize the hell out of everything all the time and not actually go off of what feels good and
exactly
good connection you get and the DOM's response on that as well. Because I've definitely been guilty of over the years kind of swinging from one way to the other. Where if I train more naturally the way I go, I would go in and I would be way more likely to be length and partial reps. When it starts to get difficult, I only really fail at the bottom end of the movement where I physically can't get out of it. I wouldn't try and squeeze at the top. I want tension, I want hypertrophy, so I think like that, and then I might go, it might look more like a pump set, but I failed, I physically won't be able to lift it because I'll try for a second at the bottom and I can't. And I would probably be a little bit looser with tempo. So as long as I have a 1 to 2 second control on the eccentric, I'm good. Do I need to pause in the length and range? Not unless the exercise is dictated for that and actually put in for that reason. So I would be a lot more just move the fucking weight. As long as there's control and tension, you're good. And then I've swapped all the way across to no, it must be a 3 second eccentric and it must be in this line of path. And I think they both have their kind of.
You need to have.
Right?
I think what's really interesting.
I think sometimes that's the best of both.
Exactly. I think what's really interesting with the whole eccentric stuff is I used to be the same. I used to be one end or whatever, and it's I think I remember reading somewhere. I think it's anything from 1 to 10 seconds doesn't make any difference whatsoever with eccentric.
Yeah, the
as long as there's control.
Got at the moment says there's no real benefit from training from a 3 or 4 5 second eccentric as long as it's 2 to 3 ish, or as long as there's 1 to 2. As long as there's control and you're not just shooting down and you can actually see there's control coming down. Yeah.
It's just.
I use the word resistance. As long as there's resistance against the movement of gravity, cable, machine,
exactly. You're not just letting the fall down.
Yeah. They're not that guy with the bench press who's boing.
Yeah. I was having that conversation with my coach literally thing, and that's something that I used to be, especially on the Cybex V1 hack. It's really hard, but it's you see so many people. I used to do this as well, and it's hard, but you see someone going down at they'll go down really, really slow, and then as soon as the movement starts getting hard, they'll just shoot down. And it really makes me laugh because, especially on that Cybex, it's just slow. And when it gets to the important part, they just fall down, and oh my god, I'm just looking at their knees going it's
Well, you're also again. So with that, what you've done is you've lost mechanical tension at the bottom end.
Exactly, and that's the most important part.
where
Like,
their quad is the most
yeah,
stretched. Yeah, so
and that's why I absolutely like it's almost like think I hate reverse bands when you don't have any knee issues. Like, it's on that hack thing when you're like reverse banding it, it just really just pisses me off.
I have yet to find a reason for me to do this. I've
Yeah.
reverse banded a Smith press for JM. That's it, because I have some elbow
Yeah,
issues.
that's when I think it's different.
Yeah, right. I've yet to find someone who needs to reverse the hack, like,
So
unless
I've
they've got
got
a big knee issue. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I've got a friend who done MMA for years, and like he translates with me every once in a while, and he's got an absolute messed up knee. Like, he's really got a messed up knee to the point where it's like a lot of cartilage is all it's all messed up. And like for him, I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, that's fine. We'll put a band on. Like, we'll make it a bit easy at the bottom.
yeah,
What I find is like just was a bit nice on my knees. Like, I don't have knee issues, but I sometimes find that my knees can be a bit thing. I like putting the band on the hacksaw the other way round. So it's like you know where you put it round and then
yeah.
not the typical way. I don't know if you've seen anybody do that.
Yeah, so
But it's really cool.
you wouldn't be making it harder at you wouldn't make it easier at the bottom. You'd make it harder at the
Hard at the
top.
top. But the
Yeah,
thing is, though, the caveat of doing that is almost you're like, because you're putting less weight on the machine, you are technically going light at the bottom, but the resistance profile is still almost advantageous to the fact that it's like it's still giving you that stretch at the bottom,
yeah. So
which is yeah, I
it
quite enjoy.
remains the same at the bottom, and as you get to the top, because obviously with a
Yeah,
resistance band, as it stretches, it increases
that's
resistance and
exactly
load
it.
because
That's
there's
always
more
good fun.
tension. So
Yeah,
yeah, so with stuff like that, that's brilliant, you know. And if you can apply that to help someone out, especially in their training, like, fantastic. Especially with someone like that who's got like a problem with his MMA knee, right? Which is
yeah,
great.
exactly.
That's because he's probably, does that feel better for him when he does it?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
wicked, right? Because that's actually applying biomechanics and coaching in
It
a
means we can go
literal
lighter, and
sense.
also we
Yeah.
can go lighter, so it's nicer on his knees at the
Well,
bottom.
he's going to
But
enjoy
it's
it. He's going to be more likely to do it more. He's going to be more confident. So many
exactly
other factors. Confidence is such a big thing, right? Like with
that's
lifts,
it.
as you get bigger and stronger, especially like you mentioned it with your knees there. Like, you've probably had such a tremendous amount of growth, especially muscular,
Yeah,
that your tendons and ligaments and other things of that nature just are like, whoa, slow the fuck down. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, you might have just reached a cap where your tissue tolerance
yeah,
or your joints are actually at their maximum amount, and you might
that's
actually
exactly it.
need to do some more isometric, slower, eccentric work to help them out. Whereas muscally, you could
Yeah,
just keep sending it, man, because
but I've
they
put
will
so much
grow.
weight on. Like I said, I've put so much weight on so quickly that I just found like I said, when I went from 70 to 97, like I could really feel the difference, like getting up off the floor and like stuff like that. Like, like 97 is not heavy. I know it's not heavy, but it's more of a difference of how my body felt going from like within a year 70 to 97. I was like, oh shit, okay,
So
I'm slower now.
it's your first proper year of training, man. You literally just
Yeah,
kind of got all those newbie gains, scooped them off into that year. Now
yeah.
the grind
It's
actually
so
comes
funny.
in.
I've had that conversation with people, and the fact that it's like you think you've had newbie gains, but I always think people have like two experiences of newbie gains. Is like you experience newbie gains when you first start going to the gym, and then you experience newbie gains again
Yeah.
when you
When you actually
first start
start
training
training.
properly. Yeah, and like when I went into my rebound out of competing, that was like when I was like everything just was on point with my training, and I just felt that everything just blew up. But yeah, no,
It's that classic question as a natural, like, how much is actually optimized? Where is your genetic ceiling or potential? And trying to find that, that's fun, man. Because
yeah,
I'm 17 years deep into training now. I started training when I was 16, 17 years deep into training. And I'm like, I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface on some things. I've only just started to come to understand
yeah,
my structure and my exercise selection and how I apply things and what feels good and what doesn't and the issues I got. So the issue I have at the moment is like I have an issue with my right scap and my right levator scaptura muscle
yeah.
that goes up into my neck down. Like, I have a problem with depressing my right shoulder blade down more, and it comes up a little bit, and that causes me shit where it then goes and I can't turn my neck and things.
Mm.
That's the sticking point for me at the moment, to be able to get that fixed, to be able to then build more chest, more upper, because I can't keep that. If I can't depress that down, keep that in, I can't tap into lower that. I can't keep my chest or my shoulder from rounding right side. I can't keep that from going. I can't keep my rotator cuffs in good health as well.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there's
There's
always
so many things.
a problem that comes down for it, you know. And
But that's what I just love about like it's I. The thing is, I find that like so many people I you speak to, I've come to terms that I've got so much more that I need to learn. And it's so funny because when I was a year deep into training, like I'm 5 years now. When I was a year deep, I thought I was a dog's bollocks. I thought I knew everything. I was like, you know. And it's so funny because you hit a point where you're just like, you just realize that it's just like I've still got so much more to learn, and it's exciting. It's so exciting because it's like speaking to like people like yourself, like when you've been in it like 3 times longer than me. It's one of those cases where it's just like it's exciting. Like just keep on learning. I love that stuff.
Yeah, just keep showing up, man. Keep going. It's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
a case of the more you know, the less you know. But that kind of when you start answering questions, and I've noticed this the last couple of years, the more I've invested into my education, the more I've invested into
Yeah.
being around other coaches and learning from them, and being in rooms where like I could be one of the dumbest motherfuckers here right now, and that's a good sign, right?
Yeah,
You know, that's
exactly.
the reason why
100%.
we join mentorships and get coaches and things of that
That's it.
nature. That you grow more in that kind of sense. You start to understand more, and you can apply more, and
Yeah.
your results will improve, your physique will improve, and you detach that ego. And when you start answering things like, well, it depends, or what's the context, that's kind of when
Yeah.
you start to learn,
When
and
you
you have
know.
a certain level of mastery, you know.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's like with some coaches I'll speak to, and it's like personally for me that I have no doubts in my mind of the fact that I know I'm a good coach. Yes, I know that I still got a lot more to learn in the fact that when it comes to more of like the anatomy and more of a sort of like real biomechanics, but at the same time, because of my experience of PTing, because of my like how I am, I can understand someone really well. And because I can understand them quite well, it's very much like I can get them towards progress, if that makes sense. And that's what's something that's quite funny because I speak to some coaches where they are just full of knowledge. They are like the most like knowledgeable person I've ever spoken to, yet they've only got like 5 clients and really they're not really getting that many good results. And it's one of those cases where it's just like it kind of works in those different ways.
Very,
Yeah,
very common in the fitness industry for that to happen when you put
yeah,
all your eggs into one basket.
yeah,
And you
exactly.
forget that you're dealing with people, not textbooks.
That's what I've learned from PTing. That's 100. Like I'm like at David Lloyd or IPT. I'm the youngest fab, yet I'm one of the busiest PTs because of like I think it's just you're not just dealing with like students. You're not like these people don't really care all the time about learning. They don't want to know like all the specific. They want like,
No.
are you working your back? Okay, I'm working my lats. Cool, let's do it. Elbow here, elbow down. Sweet, cool. Let's get stuck in. It's just kind of like following what people. But some people are more interested in that stuff and they want to kind of like go into detail. But it's just learning what people want.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. There's a saying that I had a mentor, an educated mentor, and he told me that if you think science but speak client, you're more likely to keep clients and they're the better understand. Which
100%, 100%.
If you're, because we as educators, most of the time is what we're doing is we're educating people on health and fitness, right? So yes, we're personal trainers, yes, we train them, but we are educating them on how to train and what to eat and the mindset and the psychology and life and anatomy and fucking all sorts of stuff, right? If we can't distill the information that we learn and turn that into actual English so they can understand it, everything we have is useless.
Yeah.
Because it's not. You could go into ChatGPT right now and ask it about sympathetic versus like parasympathetic nervous system, or you can ask it about digestive enzymes or GPO1s and things of that nature. But like, how is that actually going to apply to, you know, my client Mark,
100%.
who works in the police at 50, 60 hours, has 2 kids, and they have certain needs, and his wife's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's it. And that's why AI will never replace coaches. Never.
No.
Like,
No, mate,
some
no,
coaches
I'm
it will
sure
replace. Some coaches, yes, it will replace because they're just shit at their job and it's not like... But it's some, like, to the point where, like, with all my clients, it's a community. Like, it's just so... It's so many... everybody kind of works together. It's like that, having that thing where it's so... Almost like based towards their lifestyle. And AI couldn't do that.
Yeah, 100%. I think I mean, we could talk about the industry for a very long time, but that's something that like I'm very, very passionate about, bringing up the quality of personal trainers and personal training in general. I've been a fitness manager for DW Fitness First and for Pure Gym, and I've gone through when I hire and select and mentor and coach the people, and it's no shock to me that the people that I have been more involved with or helped or coached myself that have then gone on to be PTs do a better job and have a higher standard. Now I could be like, oh, well done, Martin, blah blah blah. I'm like, no. This is just like I've done my part. Now they go out and help more people, and maybe they help other coaches as well.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, and it has a ripple-on effect, the way I look at that, that's impact. That's lasting legacy. That makes a difference to me. Like, yes, obviously my clients and everything I do that, but that's where I'm like really, really passionate about, because I know what it's like to be like a PT and not really know and have any direction or where to go and what to do. So that's why I love the seminars and the webinars and get involved in the days of this, because you buzz off that. Because we might be online coaches, we might be doing stuff like that, but we're still dealing with human beings in real life as well, man. But
no,
so, what's the plans for yourself, Louie, man? Tell me about what's coming up this year. Obviously, you said you would compete in 2027. Tell me a little bit about the future for yourself.
Yeah, so the plan is for me now is continue. I've just obviously came up that cut. We're kind of going into now a gaining phase. So the gaining phase will last now until really the end of this year. Pre-prep diet into competing for 27, and then but really the main focus for this year is build the business up to as high as possible, because I know that when you're in prep, it's hard to keep on growing the business. So I want to use this year to effectively be as I want to use this year to grow the business as well as possible, because I want to make sure that when I'm prepping for next year, I want to be a full-time online coach. I want to be here. I want to be like not having to bring my meals everywhere. I want to be effectively like my kitchen's there, my desk is here, and it's just nice and easy sort of thing. And that's really, and it's so funny. Like I find that like when I'm working like behind my computer, I don't get hungry. But when I'm working physically at work in a gym, I get so hungry. And I think it's because I'm not moving. I'm just kind of just like so engrossed in my own thing. But when I'm PTing, like I'm just like, I just need to eat. I'm just hungry. It just makes me so hungry.
Yeah, I could offer a theory on that, being that because I do about 10 hours of in-person PT at the moment.
Yeah.
Like that's gone down over, I used to do 35.
Yeah.
And it's gone down bit by bit, and then my aim is to be able to fully move it online as well, so I can help more people, different situations and places across the world, right? And my theory on that is that it's because sometimes you don't want to be there, so you'll look for distraction.
That's exactly what I put it down to.
And so it's not, I'm not trying to diagnose here or anything, but I think in my head sometimes that's what I can think about when if you don't want to be there or do anything, you're looking for a distraction, like I said, with the boredom and the eating 100%. As well.
100%.
We'll know certain triggers that kind of move us off.
But when I'm here, I love it. I fucking love it. It's great. It's because I'm here and I'm enjoying it. I just lose myself.
That's how you probably know you're making the right moves, right?
100%. Like
no,
that's
absolutely. So where can people find you, man?
So Instagram, just Louie Genis. I just changed my username, so it's Louie Genis. It's meant to be a pun because everybody says my name wrong, so it's Louie Genis. But yeah, just on Instagram is the main place. That's where pretty much run everything. But yeah, that's it. That's all good.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for hopping on.
No, mate,
we'll
it was so good.
Back on after prep next year, because we'll
definitely
be competing next year as well. So
is it? Okay, I reckon. Okay, well, obviously, I've got you on Instagram. We're going to stay in contact. We'll. I have a feeling we'll probably end up, because most of the natural shows you'll be doing back end of the year, won't you? Back end of 2027. Most people do. So we might be doing the same shows.
Very high chance that obviously because every year it seems to be a little bit different with certain federations. Obviously, UKDFBA now has been taken over by Christian, and obviously
that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, man. I'm really buzzing for it as well, because I've got.
I'm going to go to quite a few shows this year. I love going. Last year I went to loads of shows. Like with my coaching sort of thing, I don't coach any bodybuilders, so I won't be going for clients. But I just love going to those shows. I love the experience. I love just kind of being there, and it's great. It's always good. But that's it. I'm excited to see where you go as well. That'd be good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, the standard shows are going to be there. So, the UK, DFBA, WMBF, BMBF, probably. I haven't competed with them yet. Maybe
I've never done WMBF. Yeah. I want to do, like I said, my mate, who is a bit short of the one I was describing, is the perfect height. He's enhanced, and me and him are, pretty much, best friends now. And, I really want to do a show with him, just to be backstage chilling. But I know that I'm going to have to do an enhanced show, which I don't actually care about. I'm like, if I come last, I come last. But I think that'd be really good fun to just hop in an enhanced show.
If you come in and you come in hot and you're full and you're peeled, you stand
AJ Morris won his PCA show. Because AJ Morris last year. I went to the
I see that.
So that PCA show that AJ Morris won, that was my mate's show. That's why I was there. And just watching AJ Morris, he pissed so many people off because he was like so much smaller. Like he was like significantly smaller than all the guys, but because he was just in such good condition, and like his shape was just like, it's so funny at those PCA shows. Some of those classic guys just shouldn't be in classic, and like you're looking at them going like, well, you're like an open sort of guy, and like. It was literally, there was so many people. Like, there was one of these guys who was like booing in the crowd. With so many, literally booing at a fucking bodybuilding competition.
I really don't understand that because I've heard similar stories of some other people doing it as well. It's like, hold on a second, man, because like you know, regardless of like who's up on that stage, you can't boo them. Like they didn't do something wrong. Like,
but
madness.
That's it. But yeah, no, it was so good talking to you, and I'd love to hop back on this podcast if you'd have me.